I know. Which I like. Yeah, I like them better than those.
I got an extra one here. Did you get a one?
I got one of those, yeah. Yeah, I got a, oh, no, I don't have a, I need a one. Thank you.
You're all set.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they're just
Make sure
the,
something-
It's really.
Oh, I did have
they have a
one.
main one. It's that stage.
1, 2, 3.
We need some more choices, Lou.
Oh,
All right.
Different computer.
Ready?
Brandon, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Right, it's 3 p.m. City Council regular meeting Thursday, November 9th, 2023 will be called to order. Please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, you think that Rick is going to lead us in prayer?
Thank you. Join me in prayer, please. Oh, Heavenly Father, forgive us the times we think we can do it all on our own, forgetting our need for you, living independent of your spirit. Forgive us for letting fear and worry control our thoughts and for allowing pride and selfishness to rule over our lives. I pray you would whisper in our ear when we need to run and whisper in our heart when we need to stand our ground. Forgive us for not following your ways and for those times we live so distant from your presence. Shine your light in us, through us, and over us, and guide us to make a difference in this world for your glory and purposes. Set your way before us, and may all your plans for us succeed and help us reflect your peace and hope to a world that so desperately needs your presence and healing. And please watch over our very own Donald Pratt and his wife as they struggle with certain medical issues. To you be the glory and honor, now and forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Hey, Rick.
All right, item 3 is a public hearing. The Port Aransas City Council will conduct a public hearing on the following: FPLT 23001623, final plat for Lot 1, Block 1 on the Beach RV, being a replat of 5.017 acres of land embracing Lot 1, Block 1, Swenson Tract, according to the plat recorded in volume 64, page 199, map records of Nueces County, Texas. Lots E and F, Seahawk edition. According to the plat recorded in volume 33, page 64, map records of Nueces County, Texas, and amended by the judgment recorded in volume 1573, page 811, deed of records of Nueces County, Texas. A 0.44 acre tract called 0.444 acres at a portion lots 1, 2, and 3, block 17, state land surveys on Mustang Island, and a 2.903 acre tract embracing all of lot 4 and a portion of lots 3 and 5, block 17, state land surveys on Mustang Island. And according to the map recorded at the General Land Office, Austin, Texas, and being the same tracts described in a document of record under instrument number 2022038398, official public records of Nueces County, Texas. The applicant is DACA RV Fund 9 LLC, Daniel McCauley, property location 907 Access Road 1A. Is there anybody wishing to speak during this public hearing? Right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and move on to item 4, which is citizen comments and reports. Okay, we have 4 people signed up to speak. The first is Ashley Harris. Ashley, you want to come up, please?
Are y'all today? Okay, number one, Port Aransas Preservation Historical Association would just like to ask that we move the Mercer Cemetery Maintenance Plan as a priority. I know that 2 staff members went and got trained for the cemetery maintenance plan, and Cliff also has been trained and he's got a plan to maintain the cemetery. So I think the only things we're lacking are gravestone cleaner solution, a tripod used to lift the headstones, the pounder to flatten out the area before you return them. And then we were asking if maybe we could, instead of mowing around the headstones, use like a caged weed eater to create less damage to the headstones in the future. Let's see, after we finish if we could get that one done, then we have a lot of people that would like to volunteer their time to work on the Royal Palm Cemetery. So, and then the other thing is we have the Carter family. They put a lot of work into a plaque design for a historical marker for Port Aransas. This is the ceramic metal version, and y'all can pass that. The ones that would be given would be like a bronze version, the same thing that the Texas State Historical Association makes. All of the structures that we intend on giving them to have been surveyed, documented by a third party, as well as the Port Aransas Preservation Historical Association. They're all historic buildings, homes, sites, and we would like to be giving them out at the city council meetings each month, starting in January, if that's okay with y'all. That's all.
Thank you.
Y'all can hang on to that too.
And let me say something about that image real quick. It's got a lot of hidden meaning in that, like the rope around it's like the rope still, and there's a lot of thought put in. There's a lot of historic, pieces to that artwork.
You're next to speak. Would you like to add on?
Come on up.
Or was that like the extra 7 seconds?
Yeah, did my time already start?
No.
I actually have very little to say. First of all, we certainly want to thank you for your support of the Wooden Boat Festival and some of our other events. And for the hot funds that we did get this past week. We made the for the first time Wooden Boat Festival free of charge, and we had an outstanding number of people come in there. You would think, how much do you think we had, Ashley? Like you were saying, like 1,600-1,800 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a few people. The increased interest because they didn't have to worry about paying $5 to some people. That was a lot. And we had a big sign. I know Joellen saw it, and Wendy stating that was it was free because of the support that you gave us from the hot fund. So we thank you for that. And again, of course, I'm going to keep coming up every month, hoping that I know that I've talked with a couple of council members that are very interested in starting a preservation fund. That would be, the city would be in charge of, that for when we have a beautiful historic place at risk, or if something just needs to be maintained, like the Mercer Cemetery, those funds could come directly out of there. I think that if we have any extra money from the hotel occupancy tax, would be the perfect opportunity to start a preservation fund, which when we talked, with Josh,
Scott.
Jocelyn, I was way off. Anyway, he said that was perfectly okay within the realms of hot tax to have a fund and feed into it each time, and then maybe we can save some of these structures that we'll have to come up with a good plan, but at least we have some money to work with, and as far as moving them and stuff, and repairing or maintaining some of these structures like the Mercer Cemetery. So, and also actually on the side, not really having, I guess, a little bit to do with the Preservation Association. I've had several reasons to go into the building planning offices to talk about a few things. Recently was talking about the sunflowers around the chapel in the dunes, and I just want to say that they've all been very positive interactions. The city planning people have been they're always very supportive and willing to look at stuff. And I think if you come in with a positive attitude, they're willing to reflect that themselves. And I just want to say thank you for those times also.
Thank you.
I know you don't get to hear that very much.
Thank you, Clint.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Kathy Fulton. Kathy, you signed, you said agenda item H. Do you want to wait till then? Okay, dear. All right. And Luke Daly, you also signed up for item H. Do you want to wait or you want to speak now? Okay, sure. Come on up.
Hi, thank you for all your work, keeping the town together. And I wanna concerning item H and also the beach road, I wanna reiterate what Mr. Adams said about standing your ground. Public land should stay public land. It should not be appropriated for private uses. And I'm afraid that the walkover, quote unquote, on Dolphin Lane is being presented to you as a community walkover when in effect, the neighboring landowner would be controlling who gets to use it and who doesn't. Now, there's a pass on Dolphin Lane that the whole community does use. And it's not a problem. People have tried to close it in the past, and the people who granted the easement have fought that and kept it open. I'm afraid this one on Ocean View Drive is being, like I said, masquerading as a community walkover when actually it's a private use going into GLO land or GLO, property. So please be very careful. And in addition with the beach road, I'm glad to see that you are standing your ground and not allowing an encroachment to become to be, recognized and allowed to continue, because we all know how important the beach is and how much our first responders need to go there quite often. Lost children, drownings, accidents, and spring break. So thank you for what you're doing, and please don't be fooled into allowing private uses of public property. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So we will close citizen comments and move on to item 5, which is the consent agenda. Council had a moment to review the consent agenda, and do you have anything you wish to pull, or do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item 6 is items for consideration. D is a resolution awarding the request for proposal for the CDBG number 20-065143 C811 COPA Hazard Mitigation Drainage Improvements Phase 1 project to Gerke Excavating in the amount of $3,441,937.37. Funds from the Construction Fund 200, authorizing city manager act as the executive officer and authorized representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
Right, so city called for bids on the GLO hazard mitigation drainage improvement October 12th at 3 p.m. We had 3 bidders. The lowest responsible bid was from Gerke Excavating. And they have an estimated completion date of 180 calendar days. City engineer has reviewed, recommends awarding to Gerke Excavating, and the amount of $3,441,937.37.
Any questions for Lawrence or any discussion?
So phase 1's Avenue E, F, 12th Street in the Dolphin Place. And then the next phase 2. So it came in at 3.4, and I believe we got, oh gosh. How much am I? Thinking of the numbers, I apologize. Oh, sorry.
Oh, what's the GLO number?
Yeah, CDBG money.
The
Yeah.
CB, No, it got reduced.
Wasn't it?
I think it was three. I thought it was 3.2, or maybe I'm wrong. You have it, Lawrence?
Where's Rob?
Yeah, CBDD drainage on my capital improvement report, you know, that I get monthly.
Yeah.
Right. That's what-
It breaks out which projects. Hazard mitigation grants. I don't know if this is phase one. We got awarded 3,264,000.
Yeah, that's a, that's it.
$3,264,200.
It started out at 5 and then we got a reduction due to not meeting LMI, low to moderate income project level. So they took away that 1,800 and it'll, or 1.8, and it'll go elsewhere in the county or the coastal bend region if someone else can use it.
Right.
Will any of that be used for phase two? When we get in?
No, phase 2 is another tranche, another $5 million tranche, separate, totally separate grant program.
They did state if they have cities that don't use all the monies that they're being granted, and we may get a little additional on top of that figure that we could share.
Yeah, at the very end of the program, if there's leftover funds, cities can request those funds, but you got to wait till the very, very end of the program.
Typically that happens, so you'll get a little boost.
Did we get any update, David, from the GLO on the governments said that they were gonna stop?
No,
Weren't gonna
nothing.
award the bid, so we're
Yeah.
gonna move forward.
Yeah, we're
based
still
on this
moving forward.
assumption that the money's
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
Yes, they stated that they will be paying out us kind of on the last end. They're gonna go through all those other cities that did meet the LMI, and then we'll be on the back end. So at that moment, we'll probably know if we're getting the boost also upon that reimbursement at that moment.
So 180 days from today would be around, in the game would be around May of 2024. Is there any ETA when they will start this, when we start phase one?
My guess is it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to enter into contracts. Could be a little bit longer because the GLO's involved. My guess is they'll break ground after New Year, so it's not going to be before that.
Yeah, I would think.
Seeing how things are moving with this GLO program, it's even something as simple as getting contracts signed is not fast.
Right, they typically have 14 days to start on notice to proceed. Once that is issued, that probably won't be issued like Mr. Parsons is saying until closer to New Year's, but I think usually it's like about a month time frame. 14 weeks for the engineer and everyone to get it together, pre-construction meetings, things of that nature.
Oh, yeah, thank you, sir. And Kurt is here if anyone has any questions for the contractor.
Oh.
Yeah, Kurt is here.
Anybody have any questions for the contractor directly? Okay, any further discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to award the bid for the GLO hazard mitigation drainage improvement to Gerke Excavating in the amount of just over 3.4 million.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Right, we're gonna pull item E, correct?
Yes, it's a poll.
Okay. And then next item is item F. It's a resolution awarding request for proposal for the 2023 street and drainage bond project to Anderson, Columbia in the amount of $7,743,640.30. Funds from the Construction Fund 200, Hotel Motel Special Fund 110, Street Maintenance Fund of 215, and RTA funding, authorizing future budget amendment for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget, and authorizing the city manager to act as the executive officer and authorize representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
Jim? I got one up here if you just need the. That one? Yeah.
Yes, we received bids on this project, earlier this month, I guess, and we received bids, and the low bid came in above the amount that we had available funds. So we have worked with the contractor to do some value engineering to go and look at that area. We had one item, the Oleander Street. We had as an additive alternate, so we had the option to delete that out, but even with deleting that out, we were over the amount. So we really did two things. One is there was a detail for a retaining wall that we had in there on the project that's kind of behind where the new fire station is going to be. And the contractor offered up an option to do it, build it a different way. So we looked at that and came up with a revision that saved substantial amount of money and makes it easier to build. And then the other thing we looked at, we had a couple of streets where we had a total reconstruction on them and said, you know, we think we can save money if we'll peel the concrete, the asphalt off and look and patch those bases like we are doing on several others. And so we deleted that section out as a complete rebuild and added back in for doing a remove the asphalt, do base patching and go back. So that saved a substantial amount of money. And then the last thing is we had put in a certain amount of money that was just for patching of roads that have not been defined in the patching portion of this, because there's constantly patching showing up, and over the time period of the contract, we always have places where, hey, can you go patch this? So we put in about $250,000 for that, and we ended up using part of that to get the project down to the $6.722 million of construction. And that's what I had on my books for the available funds from the bond issue, and also some other two projects we had some money put aside for what was it, the RTA money that we had.
Right, so and Darla, could you come up? So we have two pots of money that are sitting kind of in the shadow here that we want to throw at this project and get the Oleander project back in there and any additional street and drainage project that we come up with. So we have, Darla, what's our number in the RTA pots?
562,907, because we have not used any of those RTA monies since Harvey, so they've been growing every year. So we just had to put the Harvey against the not Ross. Which one did we're gonna put against
JC Bar Boulevard.
JC Bar
That's some
or Ninth.
So
I think we switched it to Ninth because JC Bar wasn't as high as the whole thing.
And then the other pot of money was the
The other part of money is we do have the street maintenance fund is up to about 850,000. So I was proposing to take 700,000 from that street maintenance fund. If you remember, we did a budget amendment September, moving about 442,000 over there. So we actually had 7.7 available.
right, and that was discussed, if you guys recall, it was at the budget workshop this summer. We talked about the bond being short, but we did have the two pots of extra money that we were gonna throw back at this. But what we'd like to do is get this approved tonight at the 6.6 number.
6.7.
And then we would bring back another funding option for you guys to add in Oleander and
I think Oleander is the main one, and then if there's any additional patching or street
Right.
maintenance, but Oleander, we haven't gotten right to be there. We're working with a cell tower company that has the lease over the right of way.
for this little chunk right here. So,
Yeah.
so you have Avenue A here, Avenue C here. So the proposal is to build and pave, this right through here. But as you zoom in, you'll notice we get pinched right here. And there's a cell tower that what we need to do is come in here and get about 10 feet of that thing back in city possession to give us proper width through that little funnel spot. So
The ownership of that is in the guys that own the boat barns. They don't have a problem, but they have a lease with a cell tower company that is the use of it. And I have called and gotten promises to get back, and I haven't got anybody. So I don't even know how to go do it. But that's my job starting next week, to try to hunt them down to be able to get permission to relocate their fence and their power pole and try to get an extra 10 foot. If we can, we got enough room to get the roads. We could actually get it through, but everything's gonna be so jammed up there, it's gonna be real narrow. It's kind of dangerous if we don't do that. So we hope to bring that back for you. And I think that working with the contractor, we'll have some additional savings on some of these other roads that we're gonna reconstruct. We may do the same thing, but main thing is get everybody on board, get it going, get the work going.
but so envision, I don't know if any of you were here for the 11th Street bond. In 11 or 12, when we did that one.
Yeah.
So that one came in under budget. So it left, I don't know, it was almost $2 million that we were able to bring back to council and add additional projects. So kind of think of it like that. We'll bring you back some additional projects to add back into this.
So we'll have an opportunity to do that. But I'm here to tell you, we got it in for the money, what we need and recommend the board. Bring any additions back in to get away with that.
Arnold, on the funding, how does the hotel motel special account go in to help us with this?
The Charlie's Pasture Pier Lot is how eligible, and we'll pay for that out of hotel motel special and JC Bar.
So these are just going to specific locations that qualify to use those money.
Right, in the bid, the JC Bar portion of the bid was 356,130. And the Charlie's Pasture Pier parking lot that was in there was 112. So those two will come out of the hot. And then the RTA, I think we switched it over to Ross or not. I think
Ross.
Ross, because we originally were gonna do JC Bar with the RTA. But that is hot eligible, so we switched it to hot.
So those numbers provided, looks like we're 112 ahead. And then if you factor in Olean, which we'll do at a later date, but that would put us in the red, about 173K, and then there's an alternate for urban.
Right, there was urban contract, so we were gonna be 208 in the red if we were doing the whole contract right now. Now with pulling out what we have, we're sitting at about 904 in the black. And that was assuming we were gonna pull 700,000 out of the street maintenance fund, because we have it available. That's not budgeted, it would need to be a budget amendment, but.
So for the resolution item, what is the actual amount that needs to be read?
6,722,521.90. And it's on this handout right here. You guys have this handout? Yeah, Chuck, you have it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's that number, total recommended award.
Yeah, it had the original bid amount of just over
Correct.
7.7 million, the change order number one, which is
Yeah.
a credit of $1 million, which comes to that and had a 6.7225219.
Yes.
When you're saying pull them out, you just mean we're gonna get the funds from the difference. We're not pulling that out of our project.
No, sir, it'll be done in the project, just when we pay the bill for that portion of the project, we're gonna pay it out of the hot fund instead of out of the bond money.
Make sure we're doing that entire project.
Yeah.
Yes, JC Bar and the Charlie's Pasture Pier Lot are in your revised.
The only thing that we're pulling out that was in it is Oleander, and that was set up to be an
At alternate anyway.
alternate anyway, and I believe we'll get it back in. We've got the money, we can do it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sign the contractor up to do it, him go order materials and do everything else if we don't have that right to be there. So that, as soon as we get that right to be there, we'll come back to the contractor and add that back into the change.
With the miscellaneous pothole
Yeah,
repairs too.
whatever we
Right.
have.
Yeah.
That
should be done.
Any further discussion? Is there a motion?
Take a shot at this. Okay, is that better? Okay, sorry about that. I'll make a motion to award RFP to Anderson Columbia Company, Inc., 2023 street and drainage bond project to Anderson Columbia Company, Inc. in the amount of original bid amount was just over 7,743,640.30, and then factoring in change order number one of a.
Well, don't factor that in. That's,
They'll say
Yeah.
that, just say the total amount
yeah,
of 6
just-
million.
Yeah.
Okay, of 6,722,521.90.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers, Yes. Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Abstain.
motion carried.
Right. Item G, discuss and take action on FPLT 23-001-623 final plat for Lot 1, Block 1 on the Beach RV. Applicant is DACA RV Fund 9 LLC, Daniel Mulcahy. property location 907 Access Road 1A.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This plating action basically is an aggregation of a few lots. Some unplatted Mustang State Land Survey, and then some other portions of lots as the documentation shows. So that it's basically consolidating all the lots into one, and it is for the purpose of adding on to the expanding the current and well-known and fairly old on the beach RV park. So like I said, it's a pretty straightforward platting action. Obviously, to do any work on portions of that property that's not platted would require they plat anyway to get a permit. And so they're basically, I think, taking the opportunity to just aggregate all those lots into one. So that's the purpose. Utilities agreed. Obviously, planning and zoning passed this on to you. So staff recommends approval.
Any questions? Council? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Now second. Okay, any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Winton,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item H, discuss and take action to confirm that BFDP 23-000645 is consistent with the city's coastal management plan. Applicant seeks to construct a dune walkover on the Ocean View Estates community. Applicant is Chris Mayaka. Property location is 501 Ocean View Drive.
Thank you, Mayor. And we have the project engineer here as well. The dune permit itself is a pretty straightforward request for a walkover. The probably interesting part is this is one of the first, I think, that I've seen that actually is brought by a resident in a subdivision. And again, I think what probably is needing further discussion and just confirmation is the use. Coastal Management Plan has a very clear provision in there that sorry. Oh, thanks. The subdivisions have a very limited ability for walkovers. Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah. And again, what the Coastal Management Plan says, to the greatest extent practicable, minimize proliferation of excessive private access by permitting only the minimum necessary private beach access points to the public beach from any proposed subdivision, multiple dwelling or commercial facility. Our interpretation is pretty consistent with just plain language, which means that if a walkover is going to be constructed, it needs to be for the subdivision. And much like we do with the large planned unit developments, Cinnamon Shore, Palmilla, Sunflower, all of those serve a great number. And I think that's factored into the discussion. So it says, and I just, like I said, I just think there needs to be clarification that, thanks. What the intended use is as you guys deliberate on it. The dune permit itself is consistent with the Coastal Management Plan, was reviewed by the reviewing engineer and said it was consistent and has been approved. The big issue, I think, for discussion, and it was a discussion at the planning and zoning meeting that also passed this forward to you, was the intended use. So we did, as staff suggest, that we thought there was going to be an enforcement of that provision. I know there's some discussion with the owners as to how that is going to be made available, but obviously that's not staff's position to negotiate or really discuss. So with that, I don't know if the project engineer would like to come up and if you have any questions in that regard. I know one of the speakers referenced Dolphin Lane, but I think they were referring to the Ocean View walkover here. So right now the way that it is laid out is that there's 3 property owners that actually would touch this particular walkover in some form or fashion. Obviously, the community is much larger than that.
I would welcome Stephen to come up and speak.
Public comment request. Can I speak after the public comment?
Yes. Ms. Fulton, do you want to make your public comments right now? We will need to have some discussion items, so you might as well come and make your comments now, and then Stephen can speak, and then we'll have, and I know there's probably several council members that have questions, so.
Wendy, your microphone is creaking like my joint.
Now ask him to fix it. Just keep creaking.
Needs a little lube there, but I'm Kathy Fulton and since I just doing my 6-month hop around, I'm 619 East Avenue Beaver right now because I'm not familiar with the other one yet. So I am here to speak on this and I want to I have talked to Stephen a couple of times, but that was some time ago. What's in the application is incorrect. I'm already gonna say the Pitts, Sarah and Steve, who are these odd distant family members, sold their house a couple of months ago, but they were not aware of this back when I contacted them back in May. And they were very adamantly against it. This does say it would be fronting their property, and Steve and Sarah were like, well, they're not coming through my property to go to the beach. Now, so I want to make that clear that the Pitts were against it and now they've sold their house. I don't know who the new owner is. Nobody else in that neighborhood was contacted. And this also includes the about 11 houses over on 12th Street that are part of this Ocean View Estates community. So this is not a community walkover, it's a private walkover. And if you look at what David's got up there and you look from actually from Seabreeze over down to Dunes Condominium on all these private properties right there, nobody has a walkover. And you set this precedent, you are going to start allowing everybody to do these private walkovers. And you know, it's not really necessary. There is a public walkover down on Dolphin that's been in existence for decades. Mimi Zock, another family member, has a house right there and has, you know, wants to maintain that public walkthrough, and it's a walkthrough, it's not even a walkover. And then there is also a Avenue G right there, and I've walked it off. It was like 102 yards from where this house is to get to Avenue G and go to the beach. This is not a community walkover and it should not be treated as such. And I think this is abusing. I think this is kind of underhanded, in fact, because we've talked about it, about how this is being tried to be slid through, calling this community when it's clearly private and the other neighbors aren't aware. Thank you.
Stephen, would you like to come up?
No, but I will.
That's why you get paid the big. Come on.
I'm Steven Skravarczyk with Pape Dawson Engineers. I'm the applicant's engineer and the applicant's here today as well. I'll start this like any other walkover or dune permit. So this is a 350-foot walkover for a minimum of 3 residents to reach the beach from the Ocean View Estates community. I could have named it better, and I think that's where some of the hang up is. But the application is being driven by the Micah family, and they have agreements from 2 of the neighbors signed in support of sharing the walkover with them.
So just 3 of them.
Yes, and that's,
So is it
We
a
had a-
private walkover or a community walkover?
So 3 house walkover.
3 house,
Yes.
3 private.
and I came in and had
Walkovers.
discussions with the city when we started this walkover. I don't know if we started it in February or March or.
There's several packets in here, so it looks
Yeah,
like it's been a
the-
while. It's been a
The
while.
first
Yeah.
review, I think, was in April.
Yeah, that's what
So
I
I've got
saw.
record of that timeline, but the discussion then was, well, you know, the city didn't seem on board with a single family walkover, but 3 seemed to be the minimum acceptable number. And so that's what we are proposing is 3 residents sharing a walkover to the beach. And as far as the walkover goes and impacts and mitigation and compensation and things we usually talk about, the impacts are 9 cubic yards. So that's 1, regular dump truck. And then the compensation is 13 cubic yards, which is every time I cause impacts on a dune permit, I try to bring another truck or so worth of sand to help reinforce the dune system, so that the net impact of my dune permits is positive for the dune system. The use of the walkover going across the general land office land, that exists up and down the beach, where the general land office has ownership between the private properties and the public beach established by the Open Beaches Act. So we're not asking for anything special there. I think I'm interested to see what y'all's questions are.
Was the whole subdivision notified or?
Has the whole subdivision?
We talked to it, we're new.
You may come up. Yes, ma'am.
Don't make me nervous.
It's the mic, yeah.
My name is Tressa Micah and it's 501 Ocean View Drive. We're excited to join the community. We're in Corpus Christi right now, so. What was the question? We've talked to all the neighbors that we've met and everyone has been excited and supportive and Mr. Pitts actually did call my husband and said he was supportive, but he no longer lives there anyway, so.
But no letters were sent out.
I think
So-
you did send a letter.
Per the new permitting rules, I have to send letters to the adjoining neighbors, and those were sent out. They weren't sent out to the whole Ocean View community, but based on my conversation with my client, at what, like 3 or 4 or 5 of the neighbors have been notified and coordinated with. So, I don't know, is it half of them definitely
We're-
aware?
Everyone we've met and spoke to is supportive. We just, not everybody lives there full time and we haven't met everybody yet. But all the ones like across the street and.
How many houses are in that subdivision?
10?
I think 10 or
Is
11.
it 10?
Mhm.
Counting 6 running the beach. So
Yeah, right.
11.
But is there an HOA for the subdivision? There's not. I asked. There's not an official HOA, correct?
I don't think so. There's been some coordination to put in a gate and that's, I think, almost finished. I think there was one neighbor that has recently changed their mind. I don't want to speak out of turn and I guess you probably heard that or will hear that. So there might be something for that.
Right.
But they're hoping to put a
But to
gate
be
on the
clear, so this is only gonna benefit you and 2 neighbors.
Well, others
The whole
are-
community isn't allowed to use it.
Well, others are welcome to use it too. We just have coordinated. with
Where does
people.
the, like,
gonna get there?
how do they access it?
I think it's drawn in the plan.
No, there's
Okay.
no access from the
I just
cul-de-sac.
didn't see here where it was,
The
yeah,
current
that was my
access
question.
Is established by the houses that front the sidewalk that provides access to the walkover behind the 3 homes. If access is to be provided from Ocean View, it'll require an easement through one of those 3 properties.
Yeah.
If
So
there's-
access is kind of like that right there. So there's nothing that gets you back to the cul-de-sac. You would need something like this coming down the side here. Or something like over on this side.
Yeah, I drove by it today. I mean, it's a beautiful house. I mean, it's gonna be nice, but there's not a whole lot of, I mean, you got your standard space, but where you're gonna have an easement to allow people to
Come through.
go through there is gonna be, that's gonna be interesting to see how that gets done.
And I did get a letter
Well-
from one of the neighbors saying that they were opposed to this, so
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of them also.
I'm just, I guess. If it was if you had a HOA and this was a community thing and there was only gonna be one walkover. But to me, this opens up everybody that's closest to the water would be able to come to us and say, and then eventually we're gonna have 6 walkovers. That's my concern.
I think what we discussed when we came before to have the preliminary meeting, if this was gonna be a possibility, was that concern was brought up and that was where the minimum of 3 came in, because then they said at a maximum, it would be like 2 walkovers for the neighborhood or something like that. If others wanted to do a private one, which nobody has ever wanted to do before and it's a
Right.
street, so I don't know, I don't see a rush coming for it. So we just have young children and we don't feel comfortable walking over the dune. This is better for the dune and better for the community. So we just didn't want them to have to walk, on all the way around in the golf carts and the cars and it gets busy or over the dune with whatever is in the dunes at any given time. So.
And I think it's unusual for us, because like you said, normally what we see, what P and Z sees is a subdivision requesting and it's crossing over common area land that's owned by the development, right? By the development, by the HOA, not a private homeowner. Now, not to say that there aren't private homeowners throughout the up and down the street that have their own private dune walkovers or street, or I should say road access, right? From their home to the beach. it's just a little unusual, you know, that development's been there that long, right? And that there's not already been some kind of request for that. So, for me, that was my big question is where, you know, where are they as an HOA or as a subdivision if they have those rules, right? And if they don't, I understand why you would be requesting it because it's coming across your your private property, right? But I mean, if ideally, you know, as far as us being having the confirmation that this would be the one quote unquote for Ocean View, you know, that to me, if there's a way that you could do that and grant the permission to do it, if you were to grant permission to the rest of your homeowners, it sounds like you'd be amenable to that, but you're right, you got to find a way to do it, right? So that I guess to your point is that there's not multiple ones if your neighbor next door, because the next door neighbor could sell and your next door neighbor says they wouldn't want one, but then someone else could sell and then they may want one. So I don't know if there's a way to achieve that, Stephen, you know, and all the work that you've done or not.
That's difficult because there's not an HOA for the subdivision.
Right.
And I think with the minimum of 3, that would, you know, preclude it from like multiplying.
But that's not even half of the.
Yeah, I think if,
neighborhood.
you know, if you look at kind of subdivision that have walkovers, you know, you have some, you know, like Mustang Royale, you have 90 plus homes, 1 walkover. Beach Walk, 60 homes, 1 walkover. Pioneer, 1 walkover. Sunflower, 1 walkover. I mean, if you do the math, if this subdivision were to be brand new and they came in for if they came in for 2, they wouldn't get 2. They'd get 1. There's just nowhere such a small little area of 10 homes would be afforded the benefit of multiple dune walkovers. So so really council needs to look at the coastal management plan in accordance with that rule. And it just states pretty clearly, to the greatest extent practicable, minimize the proliferation of excessive private beach access by permitting only the minimum necessary private beach access points to the public from any proposed subdivision. So if we were looking at this subdivision and it was brand new, they'd get 1 would be my bet. And if we say 3 homes get 1, then we're basically saying we could ultimately see 3 dune walkovers for that little teeny street. And it just, the math doesn't work out. This would, if there is a dune walkover from these homes, it needs to be for the entire subdivision. Otherwise, it just does not meet the minimization standard set forth in the coastal management plan.
I don't believe that section is applicable. This is not a proposed subdivision. It's an existing subdivision.
Well, this doesn't distinguish between the two. It just says any. Yeah, I think you got to take it for what it's worth.
Is there a way to grant easement to all the property owners of that street? And that be it for that street, which prevents anybody else from ever saying, I want one too, with the issue of, no, our subdivision, you know, Ocean View Estates, there's a sign there that says that. We already have ours. And I don't know if that means that all the people have to sign on, or we end up with somebody else saying, well, I want one closer to my house. I'm not signing on to this one because it's a good idea and I think I want to have one and I'll share it with 2 of my friends. Is there any way to do that? To grant an easement to all of those people on that for the same reasons that you spoke of. Not going on Avenue G and walking.
No, that's the problem.
So, David, I mean,
I think the question there is, are you willing to grant that easement?
well, my question, I mean, there is conceivably 6 landowners that are beachside, correct? In that development.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So no one's going to get even be able to request a dune walkover unless they have the land to request it. So the people across the street from you can't request a dune walkover because
Right.
they don't have any land
They don't have
to
access.
cross. They don't have, they have no conceivable access. So
And the people-
is the minimum three homes, is that a rule?
No,
No,
I was
Okay.
wondering.
that's
I
nowhere.
think
No,
that was
it
what
just,
happened when we came to have the preliminary meeting,
Uh-huh.
because we looked at the map and we said exactly what you said. We said, well, if it was three, then at a maximum you would have two, which again, nobody's ever wanted to do this before. But if you have to do, the minimum two or the maximum two would be.
yeah, there is no number assigned to it. It just, I mean, the minimization standard is
mhm.
what you guys set. And if you look at other subdivisions, it's very minimal, what you guys have traditionally given.
Some of those houses on 12th Street are in that.
Yeah.
And I can't
But they
imagine it,
Yeah,
that.
couldn't get, they couldn't request a.
No,
They no, I know they couldn't request
one.
I'm just
You know what I mean?
even they.
Yeah, I think I would
use
be
it.
more for this if it was a true community and every homeowner there was, had access and was okay with it. Then I think it would be, I would feel better about it, but I think just being a private, that's just kind of what I'm thinking.
I think one other unique thing about this street is that I really doubt that all these people who've been here for so many years are gonna all of a sudden wanna do one. But also, we're kind of at the end of the street, so everyone else is even closer to be able to walk, from that side, which could be another reason that others might not want to invest in doing a second one.
Right.
It's also not a cheap endeavor.
No,
It's
I'm sure it's not.
something that everyone's
Yeah.
gonna
I just think that if they see one being built, then they're like, oh, hey, city approved that, let's go ask for another one. So, and then where do you say no? So,
Yeah.
that's my number.
What are their property rights now to just walk through the dunes?
Anyone can just walk through. There is no, like, for example, something like the one on Dolphin, that's not a walk over, it's a walk through. There's
Yeah.
no boardwalk. It's a foot trail.
But it's public. That one is public.
Well, if you look at, any of these, like, for example,
It's
You
a
know-
recorded public easement?
nah.
It is. It is.
Rick, does that one have a state GLO easement?
Dolphin Lane?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't think that's an inherent requirement.
Yeah, but if you look, I mean, a lot of them are footpaths, right? So you have these over on Seabreeze. This is a footpath. This is a footpath.
Always have.
As you come down here, you have a footpath from Beachgate. So not all of them are
Walkovers.
walk over. So if you look at in the very beginning of the coastal management plan, I believe it states that a walk through is not. They're not prohibited a walk through.
We thought this was better for the teams, to be able to go over it and we might do all the GLO rules and all the PMP rules, and we just thought this would be a better environmental option.
I think at minimum. I mean, I guess, obviously it's up to us to decide, but I think that, if there's concern about multiple private property owners requesting multiple dune walkovers in the future, then I think we have to set some kind of minimum if we're going to be willing to grant this particular one for this property owner, which again, may or may not come with the decision to say you have to make it available to all your neighbors, right? Regardless of whether neighbors use it or not, I mean, make it available to the neighbors. And I don't, again, that's up for discussion on whether or not that's even possible, right?
But there's not an HOA, so when you call it community, it's just the street.
Right, and it could very well be like some of these other private property owners that are out there by themselves in an oasis, you know, that don't have any neighbors with built homes around them and they want to build a
Correct.
dune walkover, right? It just so happens that they're requesting it in a established neighborhood. So
The other place over behind Ocean Village off of Ocean Drive. Where they have that walkover. Not
Oceanside.
Oceanside,
Mhm.
that it, yeah,
Yeah.
Oceanside. So. That is for the use of. Who? I mean. you have to have-
Oceanside residents, it even says it on the,
For the seat. You
Yeah.
have to have your gate code.
Yeah,
To get through.
right.
And is that an easement recorded in order? to
That's
do
a
that?
recorded, that's on the plat.
And it's not the people coming down the street on Oceanside, it's. Just that group.
Yeah, it's the subdivision.
Is it a sub, it is. a
Yes, it is a
subdivision.
Yeah.
Does it have an HOA and maintained by an HOA? Do we know?
There
I
is
don't
an
know, that's,
HOA. Yeah.
There is.
that's really not a requirement of the city.
And I think the future propagation of walkovers, the concerns there can be addressed with an amendment to the coastal management plan.
See, it says right there, no trespassing, boardwalk for oceanside property owners only.
Yeah, they have an HOA there, I know.
But I mean, whether there was a HOA or not, that's irrelevant. You could have
Right.
that sign up.
Right.
And it would be available for Ocean View Estates.
Yeah.
Or anybody else that
That's-
decided to do it in the future. Anywhere up and down the coast that we have control of,
Correct.
if we're setting precedent.
And the current coastal management plans, February of 95, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 28, almost 29 years old. And in regards to existing walkovers and what we see on the patterns of the beach access, that's been consistent with that plan since then, correct? So if that's something that we're talking about today, would be something that maybe when we look at updating the coastal management plan, we take into account, maybe in the individual, I can't say the word.
Individual.
That one, in regards to it, but until that time, there's been a precedent set, and I think we need to hold true to what that is, and. I mean, because if we approve it, me personally, I would think, I'd like to do it, but I just think we're gonna be land blasted with a lot of different things coming our way once we do this. Without. Updating certain things.
That is a public street. That is not a private road. Everybody needs to remember that you're doing a private walkover from a public. And the other thing is you're gonna have the same problem on Dolphin. Everybody on Dolphin will start doing, well, okay, let's put in our own.
There's also.
The public
People
comment
coming
periods
from-
over.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what you want? I think it's going to be gated in the next little bit. I think that the challenge of getting every neighbor to, you know, when you get into costs and you get into, okay, is everyone going to contribute to the walkover? Is everyone going to contribute to the maintenance? You know, some people don't want to live there and would have less interest and, so I don't know, that I guess we went through all the rules that we were aware of and, you know, took great lengths to follow the GLO rules and what we understood the council rules to be and the P and Z rules and, we just have that whatever is done in the future, that this one could be passed.
Well, and I certainly appreciate that. I mean, clearly you felt like you were going through the right channels and the right pattern and you did get approved from P and Z.
Well,
Like it
in-
was-
In all
so-
fairness, and for full transparency, it was a discussion issue at P and Z.
Okay.
And the feeling there was pretty much the same, that it should be for the community. But they kicked it forward, so. The recommended body, so there was a pretty lively discussion on the very same issue, because the language in the permit, whether I don't believe it was intentional, did reference a community walkover, but fleshing out the details. This particular information came up.
Well, I think when you,
Right, because if you read the lead in provided by Pep Dawson, it says the project or the walkover will connect the Micah family property and will be constructed to serve the Ocean View community.
Says that, I know it says it, yeah. I think that's my concern. That's what I thought it was to be.
Okay, so let's reframe the question. If we were standing here today, same dune permit, same request, and they had 2/3, everyone in the community, all 6 beachfront homeowners say that they support and they were on board with this being utilized by them, would that make y'all feel differently? Is that, I'm feeling that the hesitation is not about the fact that you're granting a dune walkover, right? I don't hear environmental issues with this particular dune walkover. I certainly understand the fact that we don't want to have 6 of them side by side, right?
Yeah.
And I think we all agree on that, right? But what is the concern that council has? That it is only going to be for this family? And y'all don't think that a private homeowner should have that ability? Or is it that you want them to make it available? If they do that and they can do that, is that something that you're willing to approve? Or you don't want to do it at all? I mean, I just want to kind of get a consensus of where people are. I think that we don't have enough in probably black and white writing that says we can't do it. They don't meet the 3 or the 6 or the 10 or the 12 or whatever is in writing. So I think we need to make a decision on what we feel we would be comfortable approving.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the walkover itself at all. I think it's, when I first read it, it was community and I thought, okay, there's gonna be one. But now that I'm hearing it's more private, I think that's my concern.
And I've gotten other emails from some of the neighbors that were concerned about it, saying it's community, but there's no access to it.
Okay.
I think if it was true community, then I would be all for it.
Yeah, confirmation from the community.
Well,
And
an
then-
easement, somebody's gonna have to give an
Yeah.
easement
True, that's true.
for them to
Yeah,
have access.
right.
If it was just a single family building, just one property building it because they have the right to do it, would we feel different? Realizing that if you say yes to one,
Right.
now everybody
You open
who
up.
has property
Can
can use
ask.
this as a point, and we
Oh.
could have however many crossovers up and down the beach for the next 10, 15,
I mean, that's what it sounds like it's boiling down to.
Yeah, because it says applicant seeks to construct a dune walkover for the Ocean View Estates community. So to me, that means everybody, not 3 people.
Councilmember Whitney. You have any
What are your
thoughts?
thoughts?
Well, so there would have to be an easement granted if it can be done by the property owner, that it would open that up for the residents in that neighborhood, which is 11 homes. And then I'm assuming it'd be gated, it'd have a gate to it, so it would only allow those homeowners to cross. Is that what we're talking about? So do y'all have anything in plans for a easement now that grants those people in case you decide, well, I don't like the neighbors over here, I'm changing the lock. So it's totally accessible for them to come and go, you know. So is there an easement in plan for that?
Proposed that connects Ocean View Drive.
Then if they're going across somebody else's property, the property owner is upset, then they could say, you can't come on my property. So that they don't cross then, is that?
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's gonna have to be an easement basically for the public or that neighborhood, however you set it up.
There is another way this could be worked. The sidewalk that's proposed is on the GLO's property. So this is the Micah family, the 2 neighbors. The sidewalk that connects the 3 lots is on the GLO's property, and there's no reason it couldn't be extended down towards Avenue G to address the remaining homes that could access the beach.
That doesn't help the people across
No.
the street.
No, might as well go to G Street.
I mean, the
But
people on the other side
The
of it.
people on the other side of the street don't have the right to come to y'all and ask for a walkover right now.
Just call it community.
But
I
I
mean,
let it
somebody
in.
called it that.
Yeah.
wrote it that way.
That's,
the way
that's
you're-
gotten us confused here.
That's.
Yeah.
Because we would understand that's community. If a street who never had, example, Dolphin on the other way, if the people in Dolphin decided the Dolphin community would like a walkover or a cart path or whatever. And they came together, we would understand, okay, somebody's gonna have to give an easement somewhere to make it reasonable for our community to do it. That's why the question I asked, if it was just one property asking. The 3 isn't written anywhere, correct? It's not 2, it's not 4, it's not 3, it was something that somebody had said 3. Whether it was 3 or 4. But if they convert it to just a house, one property, it meets the criteria. I think we would like to all see it a community. It would serve the purpose of seeing it as a true community kind of.
Is there no land, again, I know you can't speak for the property, but there's no land that would allow transit from Ocean View Street to this hypothetical sidewalk that could be constructed. To act, to reach wherever that access would be, to access the sidewalk that would in turn connect to the walkway. And I know that would be another property issue. I just don't know if there's any physical property that would create a walkway to access this hypothetical sidewalk.
You might have to go to one of the
Well,
adjacent
I know
property
about
owners.
by the property, but I mean, again, as Councilman Linton said, no matter what you did, if that was there'd have to be an easement granted to facilitate a community access anyway. So that easement could extend to, like David showed there. I just don't know if there's any, if there's not any physical connectivity to Ocean View possible, that it may all be a moot discussion. If the council's pleasure is that it serve the community, because without that, like you said, unless they were to decide that the landward side of Ocean View is deserving of that access. But I don't think that's what I'm hearing. So I guess it's just, is there any physical possibility to create a walkway from Ocean View to that sidewalk connection to the water? It could be, yes, it could be pursued. The house. I don't know. And for the Micah's.
Um. Is it possible to? We've got to make a decision. Yeah. And I know it's a difficult decision, but we need to make a decision. And if there's a decision with a recommendation, then that needs to be discussed. But I think you have the option of approving it as presented. Turning it down as presented. But then you could possibly give some caveats to either one of those. But as far as saying, you know, we can only have 1 per 10 houses, we don't have those rules. So we've got to consider that as well. We haven't made those decisions. That's not in the coastal management plan. So if that's something, you know, we want to do in the future, to Chuck's point, then that's something, you know, we need to address. But as it stands, we need to.
And I think just as a reminder, we follow the rules as they stand, and we can't see, you know, into what future amendments might be made or something like that. So, you know, certainly we can play with future things that we are planning in the future, but I would ask to take that into consideration.
Well, the process, I mean, in regards to the Dune, they did do and meet all that, but with the exception of the community concept of it, just need clarification on that. Is there any way we can get clarification like we talked about? Is there a means that you guys can go back and provide us something that can show that what's the option of having it be community accessible to the subdivision there?
You're asking about a process question. I don't know the answer to.
I think what he's asking is there a way for us to decline as presented, requesting further clarification or the opportunity to come back with some clarification on community or easement access?
That's well said.
Yeah, I think you guys have made it clear. You think that, you know, to meet the minimization standard, it needs to be a subdivision wide walkover. I think it's simple. I mean, if this was a brand new subdivision, they'd get one walkover. So just because it's already subdivided and platted, is council, are your hands tied? And now you have to give every single one of them one? I disagree with that. I don't think I think it's, even if you say that, oh, they're already a subdivision, so the proposed language doesn't, they still fall under the minimization clause in the coastal management plan. And I think you guys are all in agreement that it doesn't meet it. And that a subdivision of that size would be afforded one walkover for the community. And that's what you guys want to see, one walkover for the community. And if they can get it, they can get it. If they can't get it, they walk down to Avenue G and stay on the sidewalk and get to the beach.
That be handled though, like what would be the minimum? Of the community? Saying only 6 would have the.
The whole
opportunity to
subdivision.
request. Well, only 6 like stuff.
But that's your community, is that subdivision?
Right. So if we
It's
go to-
Ocean View Estates, not Ocean View 6 houses.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
estates.
So if we go to everyone and, you know, like I know the person who's organizing the gate, you know, not everybody wants to pay. I mean, now it looks like it's all unanimous. But you know, I think for one, you know, not everybody wants to make that financial investment. So if somebody is willing to make the financial investment to build it and then to maintain it.
That's where you need a HOA.
That's where you create an
Yeah.
HOA for a community. If you're gonna be a community, create an HOA.
Or have a meeting with your
So
neighbors,
they can do.
all
that.
of them.
Yeah.
That they have to do that.
No.
And it's her private property.
It
And
is.
she's
It
right,
is.
it's expense.
It is.
So. we
Right.
gotta
Well, I mean,
remember-
So-
right,
if somebody
I mean,
else wants to pay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like making everybody who has lived on that street for a long time and hasn't wanted a private walkover or a public walkover or a community walkover. You know, telling them now you have to, you know, it's not like a HOA where you get the bill on day, hey, we're
Yeah.
short and you have to, nobody can make them do it. And again, the ones, we're on the end, so the ones, so it'd only be the 6 houses they could request. And then, you know, the ones that are really like the 3 on this side wouldn't have as much of an interest in wanting to because they're just so, you know, closer to the having G.
Right.
So it's really our side and children, and I know the people across the street from us, children, grandchildren too. And, you know, they're excited about the possibility of letting their grandchildren, you know, walk over, they're little and they serve.
I think that we probably need further clarification. Maybe even from our legal counsel. On
Oh, he's not going to be able to give you a number.
not a number, but
Yeah. I mean,
we don't have the permission to set the number either, so.
Sure you do. Yeah, I mean, each and every one of you have probably your own definition of minimization. It's because in the code, it's what you guys individually feel like how that applies. And, you know, I think I've heard it from every one of you that if this was a brand new subdivision, they'd get one. They wouldn't get 2, they'd get 1. And even though this is post subdivision, you know, build out, you know, that doesn't paint you guys into a corner to where, you know, you approve this one and then the guy 2 houses down comes in and that trades hands and all of a sudden he wants one. And then the guy next to him, they don't like it. So maybe in 15 years, there's 3 of them in there. I just, you know, my recommendation is that you don't approve it. It doesn't meet the minimization standard unless it's a community-wide walkover. And if they can go get all those signatures, they can get it.
With all due respect, sir, you're the one who told us that it needed a minimum of 3.
I didn't tell you that. Because I specifically read this clause to my staff months ago that it didn't meet it. So that didn't come from me.
I'll make a motion to deny the Ocean View subdivision beach dune walkover as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any further discussion or recommendation to the applicant?
They're able to come back with a true community accessible.
Yes.
To the community.
One.
Accessible,
One
not
for
just limiting
subdivision.
it to 3 people.
I think we've let them know what
What we want.
we want.
What's the timeline on being able to come back?
What is the timeline? After a beach dune walkover permit has been declined, what's the time?
Come back, if there's any serious changes to it. Substantial changes, they're gonna have to go back.
P and Z, right?
Process. But if it was something like an easement that. came
This would be
from
totally different.
From their property, and that's this exact same. Sorry, didn't walk over, then I don't think we would have to go through that process.
P and Z already discussed it, and they were gonna let you decide.
Well, that would have been nice for them to let us know.
That's funny.
Well, they approved it.
But if that was the caveat, yeah. I mean, and that's the whole point of going through the process, right? Going through staff, going through P and Z and getting to this desk is if those were comments made, if those were discussions to be had, then we need to be privy to that information so that we can make a more informed decision and not stand or sit here like we not sure what to do. So I apologize for that.
They're not an approval body, they're a recommending body, and again, because of the complications that we've seen for the last 5 minutes,
Sure.
that's why they forwarded on to the approval body to make the hard.
Right. But it just to have all the information would be important. So, so there's a motion and there's a second. Is there any further discussion? Changes to the motion? Okay, hearing none. Brandon, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item I, discuss and take action to confirm BFBP 23-001322 is consistent with the city's coastal management plan. The applicant proposes the construction of a 10-foot wide elevated dune crossover with passing areas. The applicant is Vince Tomei. I hope I said that right. Location Mustang Royal Nud, lot 47.
Really smooth, another walkover. So for those that are familiar with Mustang Royale, their walkover was destroyed in Harvey. It took a while, finally removed the debris. This proposal is basically to, and they were allowed access to their neighboring Royal Sands walkover. Now is the proposal, they come back and generally the same footprint, their own new walkover. Again, because of the elevation in the design, as I've repeatedly mentioned, has improved over the years. There's a minimal impact as far as actual impact to both the dunes and the vegetation. So again, this is a this is a pretty straightforward just replacement of what was there. The General Land Office obviously approved with their standard boilerplate language, and our reviewing engineer said that the proposal was consistent with our coastal management plan. Therefore, we recommend approval of this one.
Any questions or discussions?
Are you the engineer? Okay.
They're just replacing what
Okay,
was.
They're just
They're-
replacing a dune
Correct.
walkover.
Do you have questions?
I do.
Jim Urban's here. I'm sure he can answer them.
Maybe Chloe developed this for them.
So when because we had two of them come through, the pictures they use where where you all are drawing some of the topographies and stuff where it exists. They look older because I know there were homes built years ago, but is that just the photograph, but all the data is current data?
Data is current data.
Okay.
And I will tell you that the aerial photo is definitely probably older.
Okay, it's just the layover, and you're not using that for any calculations. Okay.
And you also see there are photographs on the ground.
Right,
I
right. I
just-
see that.
When I was looking, I was like, they don't even have the one put in 3 years ago or 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So data's good. All right.
We do have.
Any
some
further questions?
current that they
Yeah.
gave. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's correct.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Moen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item J, discuss and take action to confirm that BFDP 23001471 is consistent with the city's coastal management plan. Applicant proposes to construct a dune walkover. Applicant is Mark Admire, Aransas Princess Condominium. Property location 720 Access Road 1A.
And Stephen is here for this one. So the Aransas Princess, obviously, most of you familiar with that older condominium project. So this would connect the Aransas condominium and its residents to the public beach via walkover. Again, another design that has minimal impacts, about little less than 1,800 cubic yards of impact, and I'm sorry, a little over 1,800 square foot of vegetation impact, and less than 115 cubic yards of actual dune impact. So that's the proposal before you. Stephen is here if there's any specific questions, but again, another GLO letter of approval. And again, as I mentioned, similarly, the reviewing engineer also found the proposal consistent with the coastal management plan.
Stephen, you want to come back up?
Don't be scared.
A little bit.
Oh, come on.
It's clear.
So this walkover is a little easier, I hope. It's 800, I think it's a little over 800 feet long. It's a replacement of an existing walkover, and the existing walkover has a landing which kind of cuts down into the seaward dune. So the dune's close to you when you're driving on the beach. And it's got kind of a valley in it. This walkover causes a little bit of impacts where it goes over the highest point of the dunes. And between those impacts and some additional fill we're bringing in, we're going to fill in that kind of valley that sort of weakens the seaward dune ridge with the replacement of this one. And because the community at the Aransas Princess is a little bit older, the walkover is designed more or less with accessible grades. So the walkover currently just goes right here and dives down, right? So the proposed version goes and makes this dog leg and comes back. And the reason for that is because the existing walkover is pretty steep. We're trying to flatten it out and make it significantly more walkable, especially for people who are getting around a little slower.
That's a good idea.
Okay. The impacts on this one are 114 cubic yards. Well, I think Rick already said, but the compensation is 122 cubic yards. So again, I'm bringing an extra dump truck of fill material in.
Yeah, here's the street view of this one. You can really see how steep this one really drops down, which,
Yeah.
you know, once you get a little sand on that and it gets really,
I don't know off the top of my head. But the proposed walkover, I think, should be about 8%.
Yeah, it'll be 8% going down.
Yes, which is your standard curb ramps. The steepest those can be is 12 to 1, which is 8.33% grade. So somewhere in that range is what we're going for. And the dunes are like, what, 10 feet taller than the picture now?
Yeah.
They've grown
They've gotten-
a good amount. So that was constructed well when it was built, but it's due for reconstruction because of age and, well, maybe not that end, but farther up the walk.
Right.
It's due for reconstruction because of age and the landing needs to be reworked.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve dune permit application for BFDP 23001471 for construction dune walkover at 720 Access Road 1A, Port Aransas, Texas.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krieger,
Yes.
Mayor Tim Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
motion carried.
Exceeding. All right, item K, resolution adopting a coyote management plan for the city of Port Aransas.
Lawrence.
Hello. All right, so I'd like to start off, we have Dustin Windsor here at Texas Park Wildlife Department. The biologist for state group. He's here in the meeting tonight, just in case we get into, deep biological discussion.
Are you prepared, Dustin?
Yeah.
I bet he can answer any question I have.
Also size, bag limits, and things of that nature.
There we go. Very
So,
good.
This plan, we kind of borrowed from another city. We could tell that they probably most likely used a consultant and put a lot of money into this. It's real well written. We bounced this off our neighbors and Texas Park and Wildlife. Everyone's in agreement that this is the best practices type of plan to adopt. What we have in here is a variety of different things. Coyote information is kind of an explanation on ecological importance and other characteristics such as their mating and social structure habitat. Then on from there, we have how they interact with urban areas. And then after that, we get into coexistence strategies and techniques. But mainly the meat of this is whenever you get over to, if I think it's going to be on page 16. We have the action response management plan. This is for, it gives it's a table for citizens and the action that they should take per the behavioral issues that they have occurring in their particular situation. And then it talks about the city's response to that. So what I'd like to kind of highlight here, if you look over to the left, occurrences kind of gives a description of typical behavior, concerning behavior, aggressive behavior. So those are the things we really want to distinguish about what kind of encounter these people had. And there's definitions included in here on another page. But, typical behavior, we're gonna start an online reporting tool that they can report information on, and we will have a litany of questions of information we want to gather from these people. So we're going to build that page. Concerning behavior, we're asking them to call the animal shelter, and we will have an ACO, an animal control officer, out there immediately. Aggressive behavior, we're asking them to get in a safe location first and then call the police department. We will have the police dispatch and ACO dispatch at that moment. After that, the next page, we have wildlife response and their duties. It talks about what the ACO will do, police department, and then also I'm included on there on page 18, assistant city manager. So it talks about the different phases and when we're available. Basically, the ACO is there to track these behaviors, to make responses. The police department is there to respond to the aggressive reports. And then I am there to monitor all these things. We're gonna start a tracking spreadsheet and we're gonna collect a lot of data moving forward. That's why we're gonna have the online tool. We're also gonna take police reports. So the ACO, the animal control officer, we have a lead now. His name's BJ, Robert Grimes. We are gonna start this tracking spreadsheet where we're literally detailing all information on every report of the coyote report, whether it's typical, concerning, or aggressive. We're then gonna start out a charting map of where these occurrences are going on. We're gonna start a KMZ file and also a hard print copy with pins, and we're gonna start following where our areas are of concern. And then we will start doing signs in those yards, and then also educational literature, depending upon the situation. We also have other things that we're gonna be doing as far as teaching citizens that we go out to meet with about hazing techniques. We're also going to do yard audits. That's one of our flyers. It's like pretty much the last flyer of this packet. That is going to be page 29. That's a yard audit that animal control officer will be doing on any of these reports or complaints. Basically, this is something we haven't done before. We're going to go through the yard and check off food, landscaping, fencing, pets. We're gonna start doing audits in the yard and try to help educate these our citizens on how to best keep these encounters to a minimum, and if not, how to avoid them, how to haze, how to respond. There's a lot of education in here. Starting on page 24 and forward is each one of our flyers that we will be handing out. Page 24 is a handout about that we will be giving the citizens about if you're seeing typical behavior, here's what to do: report online. Concerning behavior, call this phone number, animal shelter. Aggressive behavior, call the police. Next page, living with coyotes, gives a good detail on things we can do to coexist and why research points to that eradication of these animals does not work. Deterrence and repellents is another flyer. Hazing is another flyer, and then a yard audit. Furthermore, not only will we be doing a lot of educating, meeting with citizens and posting signs in yards and tracking all of this. We'll also send out our ACO to look and eliminate attractants, deterrents and repellents, things. This is kind of another yard audit. We will also host community meetings as needed and have our Texas Parks Wildlife Department biologist here, Mr. Dustin, if he's available. If so need be, if a circumstance arises, we will bring that forward, whatever that may be. Lethal control is also within this plan and can be employed as needed per the circumstance as necessitates. Possible citations are also on here depending upon the circumstance. And again, we will have the online reporting tool, online materials. Everything will be on our city website basically. And we're going to start tracking all this. So this is our protocol.
So, and of course, we'll work with our chamber partners, the South Jetty, and getting, especially through the winter months, and probably just have a full-time running ad about the coyotes. Just so that all the visitors here, that's one of the biggest things is like when they call so upset, they're like, I didn't know. So that's why this policy is real heavy on the education. So,
yeah, it'll be great. As people start making these reports, we'll be here for the outreach. We can give them copies of all these flyers of policy and work with them on what exactly we're doing and stay in contact with these people.
And how quickly is some of at least the signs, literature kind of information, do we feel like we're ready to get some of that out before the winter Texan?
Oh yeah, I think in the next couple of weeks we can get our South Jetty ad going. I know the chamber's already actively doing something. We're going to get our webpage fired up and start right away.
In the areas that are particularly prone to coyote habitat, like the nature preserve and some of the parks that are kind of out there, walking trails.
We'll work
Do
with
we
Ray and
try to get some signage up?
Yeah.
Do we already have any kind of signage, Ray, that would indicate that coyotes might be lurking around? Caution.
Rabbit snakes.
caution. More signs,
More
just what we
signs.
want, right?
Yeah.
More signs.
Sign for-
Especially if you're walking off. trail.
Yeah.
At least before, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, don't take.
I do know that the chamber is, they do have quite a bit of
Yeah. they're-
literature
Yeah.
that they're gonna put out as well. So that's good to work with them and try to get all that out there. So.
Yeah, the specific signs we'll start employing once we start tracking all of this, and then we know where to put our signs, but I agree, we should put some in those areas you're talking about.
I think, yeah, clearly, because
They'll-
that's,
What we're gonna look for, those signs mainly will be kind of a recognition that coyotes are commonly sighted in this area. They notify the residents of the presence.
Mhm.
Second sign will be encourage residents to report coyote sightings. The other sign, keep pets on leashes and discourage and
Well, also, we talked about not only on leashes, but
Harnesses.
because a lot of the pets are taken off the leash,
Not
taken
those-
while on
not
leash. So,
those
so to
retractable ones.
get the message out that, hey, even if your pet's on a leash,
Mhm.
if you're walking a small little dog, the coyote will come right up and yank the leash out of your hand.
Yeah, a lot of people use
Can we-
those retractable ones and
Can we use the
they
word,
shouldn't
change
use
the
those.
word leash to
It-
harness, just to help people out?
It's in here
So
and
that they're not. they
Leash and
don't feel
harness
they're
are two
safe.
different
it
things.
specifically calls for a 6-foot leash.
Yeah, harness is
A
different.
harness as opposed to just a collar.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Also, can we promote those people who have lost a pet to contact and encourage through the jetty to contact so that we can see where
That's
some of
in there.
these pets,
That's under aggressive behavior.
no, but going
Like a
back.
pet kill.
Areas you're
If
talking
people in
about.
the last year lost a pet, we want to know
Sure.
where you were when this happened. So
Yeah.
that gives you a
There's two on my
jump
street.
start.
It's a great idea. So when we create this online tool,
It
we're gonna have a
is.
lot of questions, a lot
Yeah,
of questions,
yeah.
probably 20 or so more questions we're gonna collect data on. We can encourage these people to go on that online reporting tool, although it may have been a year ago or so. You just go ahead and fill it out for us, and we can start putting that in our tracking spreadsheet.
So is there a concern when we know they're here on the island, they live here?
Come on up,
Dustin,
Dustin.
please come up.
Yes.
We brought you here. You should speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there concern when they're coming and attacking domestic animals right in leashes? I mean, the next thing you see, are they gonna go for people or not?
Predictive behavior is very tough for wild animals.
Not biology and psychology of coyotes, not the biology part, the psychology of it.
If the animal is acclimated enough to human interaction where they will approach, take a small pet, even a medium-sized pet. That's a behavior that's unacceptable. And we're dealing with that in coyotes, deer, bears. There's lots of situations where they develop a behavior that
Mhm.
they acclimate to that is just unacceptable. And so in those instances where it approaches, maybe its intent is to take the small pet. But as you're defending your pet, it could bite you, it could, snowball into several different other undesirable actions. So those kind of behaviors definitely need to be addressed aggressively and be unacceptable.
If every morning you're seeing them, you walk out and you see them under your truck or right there by the corner, they need to let somebody know.
Right.
Because one day you're gonna lose the pet because they're stalking.
And within the plan, it stresses that if you head out to your car in the morning and you see one 2 doors down and you don't attempt to haze, you don't try to deter that animal, you're reinforcing his own behavior of
Mhm.
being in that location. So it's not just you protecting yourself, it's you training the animal that he's doing something unacceptable. And so, heard a story earlier today about a lady that was, I believe, jogging with a pet. She had a personal defense system, activated that, coyote left the area. That's the best you can hope for, is the coyote saw that what I'm doing is not okay, I'm being deterred, I left. That's a good coyote. Had it stood its ground, that's a bad coyote. Our issues with black bears come in waves, and my boss likes to say, if a bear is doing bear things in an inconvenient location, he's just doing bear things.
Mhm.
But if he's doing bad things in an inconvenient location, that's a bear that needs to be addressed and relocated. Coyotes, same thing. If it's just doing a coyote thing,
and it happens to be near people, well, that's not necessarily bad if it reacts the way we want it to. When it doesn't react and run away, that's something that has to be addressed.
Gotcha. What if he just keeps coming back in the same neighborhood every day, every day, every day?
Well, that's the beauty of the data collection.
Yeah.
You'll start to see these hotspots. And the way coyotes live in these dunes, it's very small population groups. And you start getting that hotspot and you'll learn that, okay, we have a coyote that's acclimated to humans. It's not scared no matter what people are doing. And so that's a problem coyote. Either ACO, PD, they need to get involved and become more aggressive, which is outlined in the plan, or the animal needs to be selectively removed. In those situations, that's where the data is beautiful. You'll be able to see where the hotspot is.
But how do you know it's the same coyote?
You don't.
Yeah. They all look alike.
And seasonally,
Usually
through their
it's when
life
they come
cycle,
back.
things are gonna change. When coyotes, when the females pup,
Right.
we know that late stage pregnancy and lactation are extremely stressful. So those animals are gonna be hunting more. They're gonna be a little bit more aggressive. And so during those seasons, it's more important to react quickly. If it's a season where you wouldn't expect a more hunting behavior or where their ranges get really tight and they bend, you know, you can react differently in those situations too.
Do we have any live traps out right now that we operate?
Yeah, our ACO has past practices. They've been trapping, and I do believe they still are.
Are they relocating or what are they doing?
Yeah, it's relocating, I think mainly to nature preserve area.
Oh, good. Yeah. We better get more signs.
Yeah, you're not allowed
Well-
to transport
Oh, we can't
out,
say
you
what.
can't go
Right.
out of your
Outside
city
the-
limits or county or.
Right, there's Texas
State
Animal
law.
Health Commission
Really?
regulations on
You
how
can't
far you
transport 'em
can
out.
take an animal.
Nope.
Especially mammals because of rabies vectors.
So
The
you have-
Animal Health Commission has limitations on what ACO can do to relocate the animal.
So once they're trapped, then they're put down?
I don't think we put down unless we have an aggressive report and we were able to trap that animal. And we knew it was that
Oh, they're
animal.
sick.
Let Dustin explain why
Sick,
you
yeah.
don't shoot a coyote or relocate for the alpha male, alpha female. I just learned that from Dave.
Within the plan, it addresses one situation where coyotes, they have rebound reproduction. And so, as he mentioned, eradication is not possible, nor is it recommended. Because if you begin to take coyotes off of the environment, out of the landscape, coyote groups around them will increase reproductive rates and repopulate. The other thing we see in ranching situations is what we call a sink and source. Where if you have a predator population and you begin removing predators, the density sinks. And from around the area, other groups will flood in, temporarily increasing the overall density of those populations until they settle back out. And so in both cases, it's a very short-term solution, followed by a longer-term increase in predator and an increase in problem.
That was that. expense.
Well, I like the policy.
Yes.
Thank
I
you
do
for all the
too.
hard work. It's a lot. Thank you for
Yes.
collaborating with us,
Yes.
Dustin. We appreciate your help. I know you.
Well,
Well,
Yeah,
You guys have been with us a long time. You guys
Yeah.
appreciate it.
right.
we appreciate that.
Yes.
We appreciate the
I
effort.
think it's
So
a great plan.
we got a plan and we'll move forward and try to get people aware more than anything.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so can we have a motion to accept the resolution, adopt the resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt the coyote management plan.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Moen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
There were some good Cajun recipes.
Okay, item L. Presentation from Broadus and Associates on Hurricane Harvey recovery. Hello, Michael. I heard there's good news.
A special color shirt to celebrate.
Oh.
We are officially locked into our arbitration date for the fire station.
That's awesome.
So, a couple of us will be down in New Orleans next week, with our attorney. and doing that trial. So as we had been communicating, we did settle out all of the soft costs, the percentages. That's not going to go to arbitration. As we've been prepping this week in anticipation of our rehearsal next week, we're really focused on repair versus replacement. And so we're locked and loaded on where we need to be. Raymond and his structural engineer are going to join us. So we have a good case to put forward. I anticipate holidays, as hard as it was the schedule and all of the sorts. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have an answer on the determination. I think that they won't want to carry into next year, leaving that lingering, but I don't expect them to rush before Thanksgiving and give me anything, either in a response. So typically it's 2 to 4 weeks. We may see a little bit longer time with the holidays, but they will give us our opinion, their opinion, I believe, next month, basically. All right. And so with that in mind, we still plugging along on the design of the fire station. We're going to go out first of the year, finalizing that stuff. So everything is progressing forward on the return and the rebuild. Public safety, as you can see across the street, we had our progress meeting Tuesday. A couple little things able to work out. Typical construction we're on pay app for, and no real reason to be concerned at this point that the construction schedule is sliding or anything like that. So that's moving along. Charlie's Pasture bulkhead. Terry spoke with Anthony yesterday, and Terry and I are working. There is proposed change order pending. Nothing to be concerned about. Could be in the deduction, but we're working on some of that as we speak, and should have some answers to you on some of that scope. Nature Preserve and Boardwalk, it is still sitting in our environmental queue with FEMA, and we remind them every Wednesday at 11 o'clock the cost and timelines, but it has not moved out of that queue yet. Gas distribution, that is moving along. We should have our last advance draw for the fund, so everything will be in place. We haven't caught up to the advance draws, so there was no reason to be concerned, but everything is officially drawn down through the strategic fund management on the next request. Plugging along there, still holding on some material deliveries, but same report, nothing changed. Harbor Master Office and Pavilion, a lot has been going on. We did check on some of the power to make sure we had all the power we needed out there. It's moving along very nicely. I know some of us have visited recently, but that's going to be an incredible project. And so we did submit to EDA. Terry and Rob got the final request for the draw funds, and so that is in the process right now with them to get that money paid out. Public Works Garage, we did meet today actually with Philip and his team. We're moving forward with the conceptual and all that. We got some of those costs, and so next month I should have a couple of task order changes the team should to present to you, but we're moving forward with the Public Works Garage as we speak. And then just on the last page of our report, we're just shy of 68 million in total funds received, and just over 11 million year to date. So we should get EDA hopefully, but we'll get other payments. So around the $12 million mark again.
Great news. Good luck next week.
Yeah, we're excited. This is a long time coming, and took a little bit to get scheduled.
So Darla and I head out next week.
Lot to get scheduled.
Yeah. Well, good. Hopefully they don't cancel on you.
No, look, we're in. We're gonna go one day because we really don't have a lot to debate. We're gonna turn in our final depositions. They're not really depositions, but depositions on Friday. So they're scripted. We're ready. It's rehearsed and ready. It's scripted. Have them in town to do their part, and we'll go one day full. It'll be a long day, but we'll go one day. I think we have 7 experts we present.
Good. Wonderful. The more the better.
All right.
Everything's looking great.
Thank
Thank
you all.
Thanks, guys.
For Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
everybody enjoy
Happy
your
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, item M, discuss and take possible action on the shade structure design for the preliminary construction plans for the neighborhood park expansion at the community center on Alice Street.
Okay. So in your packet, you have a proposed design, map, and let's see A and B there. That's the first page. Second page is a better look at A. So I think we're guiding y'all towards A. But you
Or
also-
1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, in front of you, the print offs, the other ones are from the previous meeting. There's
Oh,
1,
yeah.
2, and 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no wonder we don't like it.
Kind of wanted
We
to
don't
bring
like
this
it.
all before the board, a selection of a design. And then also where to put it. Staff is recommending on the north side of the park. That's gonna be the final page in the agenda item. But at this point, staff's recommendation is concept A on the north side, but it's up to the board to let us know what they so choose, and we'll get that over to half and they can proceed with wrapping up our designs and get us a plan.
Okay, so our choice is A or B or 1, 2, 3,
Correct. 5,
5 choices.
right?
Okay. And
Where at
if we
location?
think it should be somewhere other than you and the experts have recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Y'all park planners, y'all have a
Right.
different opinion of where it should go. Okay,
Planner from way back.
how about we just decide on A, B, 1, 2, or 3? Staff's recommending A,
I like A.
B.
I'm good with, I
Like
like
it.
either one of A or B.
Can I say something from the?
You have a question or?
Board?
Sure.
And obviously.
What are these little things here?
So, the app kind of redesigned from the first. Kind of like ultra modern, that sometimes silly choices that we got the first time, I wish we could do better about it. And they really did come back with things that fit more into Old Town.
Yeah.
And when, I, a little bit of conversation about it with some of the members of the community, some members of the board, and, about, the choices that I think A is, kind of looking at, Matthew's Place, the design that was sent in by Felicia. They definitely took some of those lines. I think it looks great. The weird wave things look like pointy dolphins, I
Yeah.
think it's ridiculous. I think, there's just a couple of tweaks. I like the railing on B. It almost looks like you could take the top of A, put it on B. You'd have a much better choice, in my opinion. But, and then also there's some advantages. I think the north location is good. There's been some response from the community that north and northeast corner or northwest corner might be a little better, get a little closer to the road where people can see what's going on and make more of a corner spot. Might allow for a little bit more shade for what's going on there late evenings. So those are kind of things to consider. Map has already come back and doing some really nice changes that make more sense and are more aesthetically pleasing for putting in Old Town. I think it can be tweaked just a little bit more, but like I say, I feel like the combination of A and B is good, and I think, we're close to a decision, but.
well, thank you for that.
Right.
I think they will modify anything you don't like. To be included in that page structure.
So I like A if we just had like a solid wall. We don't need
Yeah.
design, but I like.
I don't
the-
like this.
I just wanted to remind y'all real quick, this is gonna be a multi-purpose design, so it's not only shade structure, but also to serve as a stage.
Mhm.
So in my mind, you do probably want some kind of wall behind you for that projection, right, of the band?
Right. Yeah. And for the
Just
sun
about
to
this-
not be beating on your back, a solid wall. So
So
that's gonna be,
my
right?
question to then is you on item or selection B, is there not a wall? Because it did have like a fence. So that to me doesn't prohibit, or it prohibits you from having it as a stage. So I didn't understand what that meant.
Right, does B have a wall, basically?
A back wall.
Does B have a back wall? And it looks
Doesn't
like
show it
it has
anywhere.
a little
Right.
fence, which you wouldn't be able to.
railing.
A railing, yes, I'm
Right.
sorry, and maybe that's just the way it's presented, but that
Yeah.
would not allow you to use it as a, as a stage.
Oh, I
That
see
seemed
what
like
you're
that would
saying,
get in the
having
way.
It almost is like a gazebo feel to me. It's probably just like you're saying,
Yeah,
the railing wraparound was like.
give us anything else on
Yeah.
G.
I think you want to get on it from the front and the sides.
Yes.
But I like the wall back here, but I don't like
Yeah.
those thingies in there.
Yeah, on A, I like the design,
but it
other
makes
than
it-
the design in the wall.
Yeah.
I think that could just be.
I think the orientation, if you center it on the north end, you get the best bang for your buck. The problem, putting it at an angle, like I have right up here, you quickly lose out to your parking space. So you're kind of, you lose your outfield, so to speak, whereas if you center it, dead north, looking south, your projection of sound is much better. You end up with a much bigger field of people being able to sit into the crowd. So I think, I think the north is best, because I think whether you put it in either corner is what Colleen and I looked at, either corner, you lose out on your real estate.
And you block the north wind and have the southeast in the summer. So.
Okay, so is the consensus that we like
A without the
Style A.
squiggly things.
Style A without the waves.
Yeah.
Or the.
And then-
What if we came back with like the city
Point.
logo instead of the waves?
There you go.
Marlin in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put City of Port Aransas
Yeah,
logo.
that'd be
Okay.
better than.
Yeah.
Circle up top.
Whatever that.
Wait,
Well, it does
we're
get
doing,
branded.
I think back wall.
we're doing the new logos, right, Dave?
Yeah, we're doing a new branding logo.
Go with the new ones.
Go with
maybe?
our new brand.
All right.
Okay, all right. So do we need an action item to select A? Or can we just give staff direction to choose that for us?
I think, is everyone in agreement? We go with A, lose the waves.
Put the logo. Put a
Yeah, and then situated looking due south from the north end.
Yep.
Okay. We can do that. We'll get it out to bid.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lauren. All right, item 7, city manager's report.
Okay, we've had a lot of progress on Beach Access Road B, I'm proud to announce. In the last 3 weeks, Mr. Lampkin's engineering team and the city engineering team has bounced back 4 revisions. So we actually have some drawings that I think look really good, and I think we should have it ironed out, and I'll bring them. I think I can bring a design you guys at the December meeting. So it's been moving. So I think we're there.
So can
Yeah.
we talk about exactly where it's at or?
Yeah. So it'll be where it's at now.
So the easement we have.
Yeah,
now-
the easement we have with the addition. What we're looking at is it starts out it's a little wider up front near the highway to get us a dedicated turn lane. So as you come out, you'll have a dedicated turn lane to the south, and then it'll have an entry coming in, and then it'll have a dedicated right turn lane. So you're looking at the throat of it, you'll have 3 lanes. Then it'll transition down to 2 for the as it passes the houses, it'll be divided median. And then as you progress past the houses, it's going to flare back out to 80 feet to get us through the dune profile. So that, so as you get past here, it'll transition, back to a 80-foot width further to the south. And then that'll get us the requirement that we need for our slopes. But I think we got a great design. It's gone, like I said, it's gone back and forth 4 times. So they're between Urban and Daniel Mazak. They pretty much have it down.
How many drives off to their?
That's really up to them, but right now it looks like 2 to the south. And then possibly 1 tying into the cul-de-sac on the north.
Okay.
So just 1 on the north side, 2 on the south side.
How wide is it through the majority?
It's so the median is about, the median. I'm just going off the top of my head. I think the median's in the 6 to 8 foot width.
So it's not huge.
No, it's not huge. We don't want it huge. I mean, like the one on Access Road 1, to me, it's way too big.
So what's the width of our 40 plus what they have?
So we go a little wider up near the highway to accommodate the drainage and everything. So I think it's 80, then it transitions to 60 and then flares back out to 80.
Which is what we need.
Yeah, and I think we get everything in there. We get our drainage, we get, you get enough, you get sidewalk, you get room for sidewalks on both sides. You have space for landscaping, a landscaping row down along the property border. So I think it gets us everything we want, but of course, I'm going to bring that to you guys to finalize. But I think, I'm pretty positive at the December meeting, I'll have a final set for you guys to give a nod on that we can go out and start design.
Okay.
So I think it's good. I think it's going good.
Any other questions about that, David? General roadway striping.
Okay, we had so we have 2 striping projects. We have the red striping that's out to bid. And then we have the yellow striping, which we talked about during the goals workshop. And that's everything like when you drive down Avenue G, you just barely see little faint yellow. So, and when you drive down Cotter, for example, as you get to the beach, the bike path is very dim.
Yeah.
So all of that is in the project you guys just approved.
Okay.
So it's all in there. So it'll be, because if you have the Cotter, Avenue G, Allister all have the 3-lane, actually 11 too. So we'll be doing any striping that needs to be done will be in the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third item, the wetlands adjacent to the IGA Family Center. So, about 2 months ago, right after the budget was approved, we gave 2 different appraisals or appraisal requests into Rick Sawashi's with Tassador. So he's finished one. He finished the Clark one, which is the 1.7, I think 1.78 acres right there. So I just got that one 2 days ago, and he's putting the finishing touches up on the IGA parcel, which is this one here. So he's just about done. The biggest hang up there has been the late September, October, United States Supreme Court decision on filling wetlands. So he has to make sure he has that right, because that really impacts what you can and can't do to that property. And that's what drives the value. So that's been kind of a delay, is figuring out what the overall impact to the new US Supreme Court decision is that got handed down to the Corps of Engineers in late September. So, but he thinks we should have this wrapped up hopefully in a couple weeks and have that finished, and then we'll be able to get back with the owners and get that negotiation finalized and get it back to you guys for approval.
And then we'll probably have an update on the Clark.
Yes, yep, I got to circle back with the Clarks on that one, since I just got that appraisal. Because we do have the contract already going for the rec center, so it's moving. So everything's moving.
Good. All right. Anything else on your
No.
report, David? Any other questions directly for David? All right, staff reports. Darla, you're next.
Where's your
My
buck?
Quickest report ever.
Yeah, where are
There
your
is not.
papers? Yeah.
There are no papers. I was hoping to even have something ready for today, but with year end and being on the night, entries are not remotely in. So as soon as I get something, I will get it to you, but I'm really thinking it's probably going to be more like the first week of December. It will be ready before your December report, but I will email them all out when they're ready. So
We'll have double.
STR,
Yeah.
nothing's even in,
Double
so
the
I couldn't
fun.
even give you economic indicators, so. Okay,
Well,
For
too
that,
soon in the month.
but I'm quick.
Lawrence. Please come read us your report,
All right.
word by word.
Okay, let's do it. It's only 8 pages.
Only.
Port Aransas Capital Improvement Projects updated October 30. Actually.
Yeah.
You missed a letter.
Start
over.
Missed one. Mispronunciation.
All right, for airport expansion, we had the pre-construction meeting this past Tuesday. TxDOT Aviation is taking bid proposals until November 28th at 2 p.m. That's when they'll be publicly open and read. 161 days to complete is what they're estimating. So they have stated they estimate or targeting January through May construction.
Did you have a lot of people at your pre-bid meeting?
Not a whole lot.
Not a lot of.
Two,
Oh,
but they'll get more as
Yeah.
they'll work on getting more.
Pretty interesting. We took them all over the airport and we got all the way down to the very end and we got out and just mosquitoes got all over. us. And I'm like,
attack.
so, what do y'all want to look at?
Gotta add some mosquito protection into your bid.
Someone was like, malaria is making a comeback, so you don't want to hurry this up.
But we're excited. This is the first real movement on this thing
In a long time.
in 12 years.
Yeah.
Some of those mosquitoes should have radioed in. They were pretty big. Charlie's Pasture Shoreline Bulkhead, 52% complete. Contractors are continuing to build out the sidewalk and the wall, extending from the pier towards the original blowout area. They're progressing in that pretty much stage of the project. CBD Hazard Mitigation Drainage Fund, we talked about that. That was awarded tonight. Community Center Neighborhood Park, we have decided on a design. I'll get that out and we'll get that plan going for finalization. Fire EMS station arbitration set to convene on the 16th in New Orleans. Hoping for a good outcome there. Gas distribution system, we're at 32% complete, still scheduled for 2025 completion. Crews are currently in the Station Street, Beach Street area, progressing towards the Old Town area and working in Cinnamon Shores North and also a little bit by the highways on some of our regulator stations. Harbor boat ramp, 85% complete, all caps poured, and they are installing the bumpers today. Harbor bulkhead cap repairs, docks 2 and 3, 50% complete, pour of the last cap and sidewalk to take place next week. Dock 12 reconstruction, that's 99% completed. All we have left is miscellaneous items and cleanup. Dock 11, Bellingham, out of Florida, they have mobilized and began work last week. It's estimated that they will take 3 weeks to complete their project. They're moving along at a really good pace, the engineer tells me. So I don't think we're gonna have any issues with them not being on schedule. Harbor Peggy Ann dock configuration, that's 99% complete. Miscellaneous items and cleanup left for that. It's kind of just punch list walk through things. Harbor Master Building and Pavilion, pretty much the same as last time. Still stuck going, roof work, foam in the exterior, sheet rock, but it's progressing well. We're anticipating probably a January substantial completion date.
And if anyone would like a tour, just give us a shout. We'll
I want one.
get your hard hat.
I want one.
Yeah, call us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we need to throw that impromptu party. Whenever it's substantially complete. Punch and cake. Public
Put
safety.
trees on any of your projects when they're half done down here.
The tree.
Y'all don't put trees on top of the projects? Okay.
Oh, that's for steel.
Oh, okay. We don't use steel, right? Wood, okay.
We have some. steel on the building.
That's a union steel thing.
Right, right.
Public safety building, underground foundation, plumbing, rough-in, electrical rough-in are now complete. Foundation grade beams are being cut in right now and that will be poured coming up soon. That is the whole foundation that's gonna be next on the schedule. Roberts Point Park bathroom remodel. The first one is completed. That's the one closest to the Peggy Ann. We just got a,
Yeah, it looks awesome.
yeah, Emily Rosie Paul is architect on that. She's the same one that did the Civic Center, this area. She's really got a good eye for color and texture and things of that nature. So she did a good job. We just got a punch list. That first one, second one, they've already taken it offline. That's one closer to the Harbor Master. We got our Skidoo can over there for the public to use.
Or they can walk down the other. That's
right.
really nice.
Yeah. Public street drainage bond, that has been awarded tonight. And that's all. Any questions?
We're moving, a lot of
Yep.
stuff going on.
Yeah.
Oh, still.
And now you get to work on Cody's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my new project. It'll be fun.
I bet
Add
you're
that to your
excited.
list.
Yeah, we're gonna get a coyote suit for me, to wear so I can go blend in with them and become the alpha, take over the pack, lead them out of here.
Lord, hey.
Stop reproduction.
Thanks, off stage.
You're getting
Yeah, you're
getting
getting. Oh, my. Okay.
Oh, mercy. You're funny.
Short-term rentals, we're hovering still right around the 2,700 mark, so not a lot of change. We expect not to be a lot of growth in that till the first of the year. Building permits continue the slide, 175 year to date versus 289 same time year over year. So pretty significant drop. Red stripping program, I should actually have the final contractor recommendation from our engineer. It's been bid. We've got a relatively good number for the project, so I'm anticipating a notice to proceed next week. So in fact, it actually the recommendation may be in the email, so they're ready to go. Hopefully you guys have seen the golf cart signs got up on the mast. Like I said, the ones up on the mast, which was a big undertaking to get them to approve that. And also there was one that was they just required to be on the road highway when that's on the cutoff side, approaching Allister 360
For the right-hand turn.
For the right-hand turn. So all the other ones are up. Our warning speed limit sign is radar sign is up down south. All of this so far.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. All of it so far is at their expense. They paid for it. And you also may have noticed they added an additional 45-mile-an-hour speed limit with a red border to bring a little bit more notice to it. I kind of wanted a solar flashing, but we'll try the red. We'll try the red for a while and see how that goes. I'm trying to find out, Chief, if the sign has a subscription to where you can actually download the data. That was our understanding. If not, we'll figure that out because I want that to be a tool available to you guys to be able to download the data as to when those, because it's tracking speeders. It's logging when somebody hits that over 55-mile-an-hour sign, and it so it's capturing it. We just need to figure out how we get to that data.
Don't worry, it doesn't have a license plate yet.
Does the license plate reader connect to that?
Yeah.
And I apologize that the flashing lights on 361, 35-mile-an-hour, I wasn't sure what that related to.
It was a suggestion that do we want to, as we progressively keep dropping, do we want to, was that what it was, Joelle?
Yeah, I
Do we
just
want to
wanna-
progressively
I
do?
don't think they realize that it drops again because they're still not slowing down. And that's where post
Well, from the
office,
55 to the 45, and then do we do another one when it's the 35, right by Ace?
Well, we've got
There's
that.
two signs
We've got
there.
that. We've got that non-regulatory warning, which is the
Yeah.
yellow background.
but they're not, I
People
mean,
don't care.
they don't care.
This is in front of your strip
It's right in
center.
front of my
Yeah, I
salon.
mean, it's hard to get out. I mean,
Pull out of there every day, 3 times a day, and they're going 55. You can have 40 signs out there. They're not gonna pay attention.
The
I mean,
post
look
op-
at 361. Hello.
maybe if one flashed up like that or
I
something.
don't think
mean,
it would stop. People are in a
How you
hurry.
gonna stop them, chief? How are we gonna stop those
I mean,
people?
the only thing to stop them is
That's
somebody
all I
sitting
got.
there. I know, sorry. Thank you, Rick. Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
you
there's
can't get
that.
out of
I know.
anything.
I'm there every
The
day.
post
Rick
office,
Johnson, it's your turn.
there, Avenue J, I come out.
They've been there 15 years.
First of all, I like
Right.
the 3 o'clock
Five times a day.
You like the what?
3 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty nice.
I work right there. I see all the wrecks.
Call volume, it's 83. It's pretty flat, pretty normal for this month.
Response time 446, which is, we're staying on track and pretty consistent. Transports 44 out of the 83, so 53%. I mean, that's pretty high for us. We usually hover around the 40% area, so either a lot sicker people or everybody wants to go to the hospital right now. All in all, we only had one mutual aid. We went to that major wreck on the highway down in Corpus, and Corpus just barely beat us there, so they took the seniors on their side anyway. So that was the only mutual aid out of town. We didn't have to request mutual aid to come help us at all this last month. So that's a good thing. And other than that, the quick summary, just, we've been busy with community stuff, just kind of like last month and this month. There seems like every month there's something going on quite often. So National Night Out, I mean, you see everything there, Poor Day Days, the chili cook-off, between the history, Papa and Chamber, and I guess everybody's doing a good job because there's something going on all the time. And then, October's fire prevention. So we did some stuff at the elementary school and we did some stuff at the Trinity. Josh, one of our guys, he went to the Hot Zone Hazmat conference. It was in Houston. It was about 4 days long. It was kind of focused on a lot of the stuff for the port and fireboats, and if is some sort of disaster here, just kind of what to do and know the hazmat side on that. So it was a really good conference for them. Went to their open house and then trunk or treat. Of course, I saw a bunch of y'all there, and beach run, and then Channel Vista Halloween, pretty big. And then we got the big red ambulance back in service. So it's back up and running. Everything's good. Taking it Monday to get the stretchers switched out. And other than that, fleet's up and running. Everything's good.
You're gonna have somebody on standby at that Memorial basketball tournament next Sunday.
We got it on the schedule.
And guess what? You've been playing this year.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Something's
Right. It's your anniversary.
Anniversary, yeah. Might need somebody.
Yeah.
They need
yeah.
cheerleaders too.
Wanna stay up in the stand.
Yeah,
That's where we'll be.
I'm gonna play.
You're gonna play?
Oh,
All right. Well,
here's, yeah.
I hope
We
the
need-
guys following you around.
Come on.
I'm impressed.
Me, Kelly, and Mark have.
Yeah.
We're just gonna foul it.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt, we'll get Matt.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Matt probably definitely.
Hey, Chase was last year.
Hello, chief.
I also want to express my appreciation for the 3 o'clock meeting. I was able to miss the first 2 hours and not even know.
Oh, okay.
I think it had something to do with the time change. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Oops. Did you
What?
not,
We can get some new radio.
you didn't get the memo?
Yeah, I probably did. We've been, for off season, been a little busier than we're used to. Dealing with a lot of the contractors that are in town, even though the permits are down, the out of town contractors are up. I want to give a shout out to one of our patrol guys last night, stopped a car of 6 that were in town here. 6 young men, each of them had multiple prior arrests for violent offenses.
Oh,
And they had
wow.
just come into town and they spent the night in the jail and
Geez, what were they doing?
left this morning. They claimed they were lost, but I think that
Yeah.
that he
Yeah, that's
arrested
kinda
a
creepy.
potential
Oh, wow.
for some
Okay.
serious crime last night.
Good job.
Yes. Still one down on our hiring. We've extended a job offer to a gentleman out of the Frisco Police Department. And he's a 20-year veteran, but he's only 42 years old, so
Started young.
he's gonna have a long career with us. Our dispatch positions are all full. Other than that, not a lot going on right now.
Okay.
Oh. I'm gonna put it on your calendar. February 16th is gonna be our awards banquet, if you wanna
Okay.
save the date.
Save the date. Okay. Okay, so the final item is number 9, city council comments and items for future consideration. Can we talk about our regular December meeting dates?
Oh.
December
Have it the
19th.
19th.
It's
at
December
3.
19th at 3. Okay, did we change that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure everybody was aware, because I wasn't, I might have missed that memo.
Yeah, we pushed it up, what, 2 days?
Right, so it wasn't.
And then to three.
3 p.m. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so everybody make sure you have that on your calendar,
I have
December
it.
19th, 3
Yeah.
p.m.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Since it's
Yeah,
so
making
dark
sure.
early. All right, are there any other comments, items? Okay, we're adjourned at 5:20.
I'll mention we